What's up, Alienware Alpha users? This is Drewski, or Andrewski, Andrew, Drew, whatever you prefer. However, this video is specifically designed or uh, made to give perhaps new users an idea on what the Alpha can do on GTA 5. The Alpha I'm referring to is the base model. It's the i3. In fact, it's the original base model from a couple years ago, the one that had Windows 8. I'll take a look and see what the processor number was exactly. I think it was 4130T or something along those lines. An i3 4130T CPU at 2.9. I've installed 16 gigs of RAM, probably overkill, but I like having it. It wasn't a lot of money because it's DDR3. And I have a PNY SSD. Not the best, but certainly better than the stock hard drive that the Alpha came with. To this day, I still see a lot of users asking about GTA 5. Can I do 60 frames a second on GTA 5 with the Alienware Alpha i3? I purchased my Alpha last summer. I saw it on clearance at Walmart for 250 bucks. I wanted a computer that wasn't a laptop. I was tired of using laptops for school, and I kind of had it in mind. Thanks to some dude at Slick Deals, he pointed it out. It was in my area on sale, so I went and grabbed it. And I immediately went and grabbed a solid state drive and 16 gigs of RAM. However, I wasn't really planning on using it for gaming. Maybe something like Mass Effect. I haven't played that, is what I had in mind. But I was on school break here this past couple weeks. In fact, I decided I'm not going to go back this semester. I'm going to take the semester off. Regardless, I thought, well, why don't I try to play a few games? In particular, I want to play GTA 4. But I'm going on and on. So here we are. Grand Theft Auto 5. Can you do 60 frames? The answer is no. You cannot. Not playably. You would literally, I've done just about every tweak that you can do to try to get 60 frames, and it just is not consistent enough to be recommended at all. I would highly recommend doing what I'm about to show you. First of all, there's several things you want to do if you haven't done already. You want to, this is if just setting your alpha up in general to perform better. Go to System and Settings, go to Power, Additional Power Settings, and make sure you're on High Performance. Windows and the Nvidia control panel recognize this as a mobile device or a laptop, and therefore it does things like power saver, balanced, not needed for this device. One, it's a low power GPU, and two, it's not a laptop. You're not going to be running off the battery, so make sure you're on high performance there. Make sure you go to NVIDIA control panel and go to manage 3D settings, and you go to power management mode. This will likely be on optimal power. You don't want it to be on optimal power. You want it to be maximum performance. You can take a look at some of the things I have said here. Vertical sync. This one in particular is the big one. Vertical sync adaptive half refresh rate, which means locked at 30 frames a second. Well, what it means is locked at half of whatever your monitor's refresh rate is, minus 60. More than likely, you're playing on a 60 hertz. If you're playing on a 50, you might have to do some different settings in that regard, and I'm not going to discuss that in this video. Ambient inclusion off, application controlled here, FXAA on, gamma correction on, mode application controlled, setting application controlled, transparency off, GPUs all, factors off, smoothness off, 3D application on pre-render frames, single display performance mode here on GPU acceleration for maximum performance, of course. Shader cache on, definitely texture filtering on, allow, performance, on, auto, on, adaptive again, and use the application settings. And you go down here to apply, and you're good to go on that end. Those are just some general things you'll want to do. Granted, you might change some of those settings on a different application that you're using, if you're watching a movie or something, or if you're playing a less or even more demanding game, then you might change these a bit. But that's what I have and would probably recommend. Now, let's get ready to play our game here. I'm going to go over here to check, see what I have running. I just restarted this computer. I have Intel Rapid Storage Technology, OneDrive, it's up to date. I'm actually going to pause syncing for a couple hours. That way it doesn't cause any unneeded background activity. GeoForce Experience, leave that on. I've got Windows Defender, Bluetooth devices, and I'm going to turn off Alienware FX Editor. That might actually be an interesting one because I know Windows Defender is a pretty heavy program. I don't know if I don't believe it's really running when I'm just playing a game, but that's an interesting one. I don't know if I ever really messed with that too much. Anyway, I do have Msi Afterburner on here. It's not necessary, I don't believe. Msi Afterburner is a free software you can download that'll allow you to overclock your GPU. I have it at 135 and 300 here, which is what another guy recommended. I can't think of his name. I'll try to link it in the description. But that overclocks it a little bit, gives it a little bit of a boost, and it also allows me to monitor what's going on with my graphics card. So I have the overclock going on. I've got GeoForce Experience set to where I want it. All the settings set. So now we're going to go into GTA 5. The reason you can't get 60 frames or that it is such a struggle because there's been moments where it seemed like, oh man, it's 60, 58, 57, you know, it's not really dipping too much. And I've had brief periods where it played like that, but it's very inconsistent. There's many things that can throw a wrench in the thing, so to speak. Variables, a certain number of cars in a certain area that you had to, more buildings in certain areas, more houses, more people, things like that can just dip your frame rate to the point where it gets so frustrating that you're better off playing at 30. I originally played GTA 5 on the Xbox One, so I thought, well, why play it again on here at 30? What's the point? Well, you can play with mouse and keyboard. Specifically for me, I'm going to play with mouse and the PlayStation navigation controller. I have a Bluetooth adapter for that. You can find that on Amazon. It's pretty cool. And a PlayStation navigation controller, so I can use that in place of the keyboard. Because I haven't become familiar enough with the keyboard to be comfortable with it, so I prefer to play that way. Also, I have a Logitech MX Anywhere mouse, so I can play on my couch. I recommend it if you do that. Great mouse. Plays on. It does literally track on practically anything. So let's go to settings. Let's start with advanced graphics. Long shadows, left those on. Extended distance scaling, I have it, I think it's 10%, yeah. High detail streaming with flying on. The extended distance scaling makes a difference, even at that 10%. Reduces pop-up, I believe. So we'll go a quick rundown. DirectX 11, full screen, 1080. Aspect ratio, auto, 60 hertz. Output monitor 1. FXAA on. MSAA off. Vsync on. Population density, that's at 50% or 5 clicks. Population variety, that's at 3 clicks. Distance scaling, 100%. Texture high, shader and shadow high. Reflection very high. Reflection MSAA off. Water quality high. Particles high. Grass quality high. Soft shadows, Nvidia PCSS. Post FX high. 2 clicks on 20% on the motion blur strength. Filtering times 16. Ambient occlusion off. Tessellation high. Alright. That's it. From a couple hours I played, it seems to be locked at 30. No, I didn't see any stuttering, or I might have saw a screen tearing at one point, but it was like one in like 2 hours I played through it. I'm not sure 100% that's what it was. The nice thing is I have distance scaling up quite a bit. That makes a big difference. I've got it up 100% and a little bit of extended distance scaling. I have population density at 50%. Density is how many cars and how many people are out on the street. Certainly if you're trying to play at 60 frames, you're not going to be able to get
what's up?
Hey man, it's me,
near those
Michael.
settings.
What's going on?
Listen,
So,
I gotta get hold of the money for that house we pulled down, so...
show you how many frames are going here. Let's go back to control panel here. Actually, you know what? I'll use this. Where is it? On-screen display shadow. Oh. All right, let's see if that puts it on. I think it does. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's see how this does. Now, keep in mind, I'm also recording on this PC as well, which, again, I tried to record just push the absolute limit frame rate at 60, and it certainly did performance. But you can see it bouncing down to like 0.1 off of 30. Here we'll go into a little heavier area of the city. This would cause big dips for me when I was trying to get 60. Oh, especially with this much density and even variety. And we're still staying at a solid 30, which is great. Yeah, it does play a little slower, but keep in mind what you have, and I guess that's something that I probably wasted a lot of time. Well, there's no question I wasted a lot of time, although I learned a lot in the process of trying to tweak the settings to get 60 frames a second, because this is essentially a PS4 and Xbox One. Like, it's not much more powerful than either of those systems. I use things like Razer Cortex to shut down all the apps outside of the game. I used Nvidia GeForce Experience to I used it to optimize the game. And the interesting thing is, if my resolution was at 1080p and I asked it to optimize GTA 5 based on my hardware, it actually made the settings to the point where, I'll show you here, it made it so that the video memory up there at the top, that yellow bar, which you can see I'm pretty much almost maxed out, it put it over it. So you can't even play without tweaking on the optimal experience. So, which is interesting. It makes me think that the GeForce Experience optimized settings are automated, which is smart because there's a million different combinations of CPU, GPU that one could have. However, the Alpha, you got to think, is probably, I would bet it was one of the top 3 selling computers for the, I don't know, at least the year it came out, maybe. You know, in terms of quantity, like, a lot of people have them because they're a cool little thing, and they're still selling, obviously. And of course, I'm not talking about the i5 with the GTX 960 and 4 gigabytes of video memory, because that could like, I'm sure that you can get 60 frames with it. But you can see I've got a lot of high, very high settings here. This is great. I mean, the game looks great at 30. It plays great at 30. I'm telling you, you just can't get 60. Not reasonably. I thought about trying to adjust a few things, even after I did all this. Like, let's turn this down to normal. Let's turn this down to normal. This down to normal. Let's put reflection at normal. Water quality normal. Normal. Do soft. Normal. And we'll just turn tessellation off. Now, that's actually going to require me to change the Vsync method. I'll do that real quick. I particularly like Razer Cortex, the program that shuts down all the apps. I don't know. I just don't. I don't feel like it does the right thing all the time. We'll turn Vsync back on at a full 60. Now you could do adaptive, but man, I had a lot of screen tearing. I mean, it was just unplayable with adaptive. Even when I had pretty good settings to where at least walking around it would be pretty close to 60, but driving, no. But even walking around, it would tear. All right, so here we are. We did a lot of stuff there. We're going to apply these changes. I'm surprised it's not asking me to... Hang on. It should be asking me to... Yeah, okay. Try this again. You know, the Nvidia one is the exact same. And here, we'll take both these down to 0. We'll do this at 5. All right. This is what I was going for. These three here are brutal in terms of getting them adjusted correctly at 60. So go ahead and restart, see what happens. And watch it be perfect 60, just not even dip a single bit. But the reality is the game's not going to look near as good. And so I would rather play at 30 at this point. I mean, it literally was pushing it to the max. I'm sure it's still pushed to the max, despite the fact that you might think, well, it's only using half the amount of the video memory that's available. True, but there must be some files that are loading that are massive in terms of when you go into a new area. You know, new cars load and new buildings, new textures, that kind of thing. New character or new NPCs. So I think that's what causes it to stutter so badly and drop to like 40 or whatever. Like it was so frustrating to me that I'm done at this point. Like this is the only setting that I can think of that I didn't try or that I didn't after I kind of know what everything does. There's a guide online if you're interested. Maybe you have the i5 Alpha with the 2 gigs of video memory. You might be able to get a little bit better performance with it. Hell, you might be able to get 60 on it, or the i7 with the original 2 gigabyte video card. But I have the i3. And I think those probably sold the most. And so that's what we have. So I'll take a look at it. We're not looking so hot there in the frame rate.
Hey, what's up? Hey, man, it's me, Michael. What's going on?
That seemed like I didn't.
Oh, listen, I gotta get hold
I
of the
saw it
money
jump
for
up to
that house we
38.
pulled down, so I'm getting a crew together for,
But it seems to be sticking it.
you can guess. The pay will be awful, and the risk will be high.
Something wrong there. Let me check a second. Where you at, NVIDIA control panel? Did you do what I asked you to do? Yeah. Vertical sync is on. I don't know. Maybe I have to reset the whole game.
But you might learn
I mean, you see it at 59 right there.
That's
okay.
not exactly a great sales
Now we're
pitch, dog,
supposed to
but I guess I gotta start somewhere.
Thank you.
You see it dipping down to
Maybe
50. I mean, that's 10 frames.
Deals,
45.
Jobs.
Yeah, and that's with really low settings on.
Sit tight for a while.
That 45 is just unacceptable to me. I say if a game goes below 10 frames under the target, you need to cut that in half if it's 60. But you can see a lot of the stuttering. And again, there's like 2 cars out on the street. Like I have no vehicle density. You go into certain areas of town. I think it's down here. You go in certain areas of town and you'll see it really struggle. Like it won't recover to 60 when you're in that area. Like you see now, like I got my hopes up. Oh, look at it, 60 solid. Yeah, it's going all right now. Wait till I get to a new area here, you'll see it dip. Like if every time you drive into a new area, and I wouldn't be shocked if a lot of users are playing it like this, which is just terrible. If every time you drive into a new area, you have a huge dip to like 45. Man, that's terrible. That's not a way to enjoy this game. You would think there'd be more videos on this, or at least tutorials on how to do something like this on the internet, but I didn't find them.
Forgive me.
And right now, yeah, we're doing okay at 60. All right. But there we go to 53, 50. Yeah, I told you when you get to this side of town, for whatever reason, I guess there's a lot more little details in the area. It dips quite a bit, and this is no good. Like, imagine if you were to boost density up where it would be. And that's just terrible, all over the place. So you get my point. You can do whatever you want, but I'm just trying to help save some time. I spent way too much time, honestly, messing with this. I mean, I'm not several weeks where I haven't really played it. I've just been tweaking it. Regardless, I hope this helps somebody. My next go around, it will I'll likely get something more powerful that way. You know, I don't have to push the thing to the limit in order to get the settings I want. But it was a good learning experience regardless, because I imagine there are a lot of users that have really powerful systems that are not running as optimal as they could on the settings. They might have some stuff going on that could be better. So the Alpha's a good machine. I enjoy playing at 30. It's fast at what I need to do for school. I'm glad I got it, and it'll last me a while longer. I mean, you can play pretty much any game at 30, 1080, no problem, which is what consoles do. Sure. And there's some that you can play at 60, no problem. Like I have Arkham City, 60, no problem. I'm sure there's like I have Black Ops 2. I haven't tried it, but I'm sure that does well too. All right. Wish you all the best.